Humans have always had the irresistible urge to play God, often driven by arrogance and unchecked ambition. Some have even crossed the line by creating new forms of life, especially animal life. Here are 10 terrifying creatures brought into existence by science. Number 10. The two-headed dog. In the 20th century, biology was largely about taking things apart to understand how they worked, but by the 21st century, it became about putting them back together, often with unsettling twists. Back in the 1950s, Soviet Dr. Vladimir Demikhov conducted bizarre experiments in the name of science, pioneering transplant technology in the most horrifying ways imaginable. In his lab, he experimented with organ transplants between dogs, but it didn't stop there. Pushing the boundaries of science, Demikhov attempted something even more grotesque, transplanting the head of one dog onto another, creating a two-headed dog. After 23 failed attempts, each one a nightmare for the poor animals involved, he finally gained notoriety on his 24th try. The grotesque two-headed dog made headlines, forever cementing this chilling experiment in the annals of science history. Number 9. The Vacanti mouse experiment. One of the most infamous lab experiments of the late 1990s is the Vacanti mouse, known for the human ear growing on its back. This wasn't some mad scientist's twisted creation. In fact, it had a noble purpose. Harvard brothers Joseph and Charles Vacanti, along with MIT engineer Bob Langer, aimed to solve the organ shortage crisis by developing lab-grown body parts for people who had lost them due to illness or injury. Their focus began with ears, notoriously difficult to reconstruct due to their complex shape. By creating biodegradable scaffolds that could dissolve in the body, they hoped to grow new organs. Although the funding for the project eventually dried up before it reached human trials, this groundbreaking research laid the foundation for future bioengineering breakthroughs. And for now, at least, no one is walking around with a human ear on their chest, or elsewhere. Number 8. Genetically modified salmon. With just a bit of lab tinkering, scientists have created something extraordinary, a fast-growing salmon that is 99.9986% identical to regular Atlantic salmon. However, by adding a small amount of growth hormone from the Chinook salmon, these genetically modified fish grow much faster, reaching maturity in record time. Overfishing and the high demand for salmon have taken a toll on wild populations, so the development of these supercharged fish offers a way for producers to grow salmon more quickly and cheaply. While these modifications might not seem dangerous, after all, we're talking about fish, not monsters, there are concerns about the long-term effects on ecosystems. How will these genetically altered creatures fit into the delicate balance of nature? Though this may not pose an immediate threat to human health, the ecological consequences are unknown. It's hard to shake the feeling that this innovation is more profit-driven than anything else, even if it could help feed a growing population. Number 7. Fluorescent puppy, the world's first transgenic dog. Ever lose your dog at night and wish they could glow in the dark? Well, that's not too far from reality. Scientists in South Korea have cloned puppies that glow under ultraviolet light by inserting genetic material from sea anemones, which emit a red fluorescent glow, into their cells. It sounds like something straight out of a sci-fi movie, but the goal was more than just creating glow-in-the-dark dogs. This experiment was a breakthrough in transgenic research, opening up new possibilities for medical studies, including ways to combat human diseases. While the science is undeniably fascinating, it also raises serious ethical questions about cloning and animal testing. After all, these glowing puppies are still living beings, and their purpose, though groundbreaking, doesn't erase the moral concerns that come with such experiments. Number 6. Belgian Blue. Almost all modern livestock, from cows to horses, have been genetically engineered in some way, though it used to be done through selective breeding. Nowadays, science has taken over, with labs and scientists replacing farmers in fields. The Belgian Blue, despite its name, isn't blue like the sky or a sapphire, it's just a regular cow, albeit with an unsettling twist. Developed in the 1950s by Professor Hansett through artificial insemination, these cows were bred for one purpose: to produce exceptionally lean, tasty beef. The breed carries a specific genetic mutation that results in hypermuscular cows, making them look like something out of a sci-fi horror. What might seem like an innocuous bovine is actually a product of intense genetic manipulation, with all the ethical concerns that come with it. Before we continue, make sure to like this video, subscribe to the channel, and hit the notification bell. Number 5. See-through frogs. Meet the see-through frog, a creature that's not exactly as glass-like as you might imagine, but still fascinating. Why make a transparent frog when nature has provided us with a rainbow of amphibians? The goal here is simple. Scientists wanted to study a frog's internal organs and blood vessels throughout its life without needing to kill or dissect it. Developed by researchers at Hiroshima University's Institute for Amphibian Biology, these transparent frogs allow scientists to observe the effects of drugs and genetic behavior in real time, which is especially useful in cancer research. While the frogs themselves still face the burden of animal testing, being injected with chemicals and compounds, the transparency allows for non-lethal observation, a small but significant step forward in reducing harm. Watching the heart of a living frog beat right before your eyes may be incredible, but the ethical questions of animal testing remain. Number 4. Genetically modified cyborg dragonfly. In a bizarre fusion of biology and technology, scientists have created genetically modified cyborg dragonflies. These tiny flying robots could revolutionize surveillance, making the concept of being a fly on the wall a reality. Drones, while advanced, are often too bulky for covert operations, but these cyborg dragonflies, equipped with steering neurons and tiny light-sensitive cells, can be remotely controlled to navigate tight spaces. To make them even more high-tech, they carry miniature backpacks fitted with sensors to gather data in places humans can't easily reach. While the technology is undeniably impressive, the idea of insect-sized spies being steered remotely is equal parts amazing and downright unsettling. Number 3. First monkey genetically engineered to have Parkinson's. In a highly controversial experiment, Japanese scientists have genetically engineered a monkey to develop Parkinson's disease. While animal research has led to significant advancements in medicine, experiments on primates, whose brains closely resemble ours, raise serious ethical concerns. These monkeys are deliberately made to suffer from a debilitating disease so that researchers can study the neural damage it causes and potentially develop drugs to slow its progression. While this research holds the promise of breakthroughs for thousands of Parkinson's patients, the ethical dilemma is hard to ignore. Animal testing has been reduced in some countries due to stricter regulations and alternative technologies, but advocates for this research argue that primates offer critical insights that no other method can provide, though even they admit that these experiments come with many limitations. Number 2. Genetically modified dogs. Humans have been altering animals through selective breeding for centuries, shaping species for specific purposes like stronger horses or more productive dairy cows. But now, in a scientific leap, researchers in China are modifying dogs at the genetic level to create a more muscular breed. Using cutting-edge gene editing techniques, these scientists are tweaking the DNA of dogs to enhance physical traits like strength and endurance, potentially creating ideal hunting or working dogs. While there are already numerous breeds that serve these purposes effectively, this genetic manipulation opens up a whole new realm of possibilities. It feels like we're inching toward a future straight out of a sci-fi movie, where even a dog's temperament could be designed in a lab. Could this be the beginning of remote-controlled robo-dogs? Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. Number 1. Dolly the sheep. Dolly the sheep is perhaps the most famous sheep in history, having made headlines in 1997 as the world's first cloned sheep. What set Dolly apart was that she was cloned from a single adult individual, rather than from a fertilized egg, a method that had been used in previous cloning successes. After decades of failed attempts, scientists finally achieved the remarkable feat of cloning from an existing adult. Dolly was created using a mammary gland cell from an adult ewe, which was fused with an unfertilized egg cell stripped of its nucleus. This process tricked the egg into accepting the mammary cell and bypassing its normal growth cycle. It took considerable experimentation to perfect this delicate procedure, but they ultimately produced an embryo that was transferred to a surrogate mother. After a normal gestation period, Dolly was born. She lived for 6 years, possessing fully functioning organs that were genetic matches for the original mammary gland DNA. Today, her body is preserved and on display at the National Museum of Scotland in Edinburgh. Sometimes you just have to wonder what the point of all these genetic tinkering really is. But other times, you can only watch and hope that they work. If we could eliminate malaria and dengue fever from the world, we could end so much suffering, and surely that's something to hope for, right? What do you think? Could science actually change the world for the better? Be sure to let me know in the comments below. And before you go, don't forget to like this video and subscribe to the channel. Check out the other cool stuff showing up on the screen right now, and I'll see you next time.